channel called Live Granny. You know, come in, join us, sit at my knee, and let's have a story. Then you know that we told a story called Chickens Can't See in the Dark a while ago for our friend Noisy Chicken, and in that story was Owl. Also, we also told the story of the 3 little pigs and the big bad wolf, but we didn't finish it. We wanted you to think of how could you change the ending. So I found this book. It's called Pigs Might Fly, called The Further Adventures of the 3 Little Pigs by Jonathan Emmett and Steve Cox. So let's see what these 2 authors and illustrators came up with for what might happen in another story about the 3 little pigs. So once upon a time, there were 3 little pigs, but I'm sure you know that story already. So this is the story of what happened next. So, twice upon a time, there were 3 not so little pigs, and their names were Woody, Waldo, and Wilbur. Well, Waldo was not the smartest of pigs, and he never learned by his mistakes. So after his straw house, he tried to build a straw television and even a straw bicycle. Now this is Woody. Woody was a little bit smarter than Waldo, but he wasn't very careful. So while the things that Woody built often looked impressive, they didn't last for very long. Now, this is Wilbur. Wilbur was smart. He was the smartest pig of the 3. And when Wilbur built something, he always went whole hog and built it properly. Oh yes, and this is the big bad wolf, whose real name was Algernon, so you can see why he never used it and called himself the big bad wolf. The wolf was still very sore about what had happened the first time he climbed down the 3 pigs' chimney. In fact, his bottom was so badly scalded by the hot water, he still couldn't sit properly. Because remember, in the first original story, the wolf went down the chimney into the pot of hot water. One day, Wilbur saw this advert in his newspaper. Oh, the Peterson Perfect Pie Company is proud to announce the first Pie in the Sky air race. The winner will reserve a magnificent trophy and all the pies they can eat. That sounds like a prize worth winning, thought Wilbur, licking his lips. When Waldo and Woody heard about the race, they were just as keen to enter, and so each pig set about building an airplane. Now, Waldo was the first little pig. What do you think he built his airplane out of? I bet you guessed right. Waldo thought that he should stick to what he knew best, so he built his plane out of straw. Woody usually threw things together from whatever was lying around, so he built his plane out of, can you guess? You're right, sticks. And Wilbur, well, at first Wilbur didn't build anything. He just drew lots of pictures and plans. Wilbur was still drawing when Waldo and Woody had finished building their planes. I want to make sure everything works properly, he told them. When Wilbur finally started, he built his plane out of, can you guess? No, of course not bricks. Who ever heard of an airplane made out of bricks? He built it out of metal, of course. But all this time, the big bad wolf had been spying on the pigs. At last he grinned. My chance for revenge. I'll stop those pigs from hogging all the glory, he thought, and I'll win the air race. Then I'll wolf down all those pies and have those 3 pigs for dessert. On the day of the race, all the airplanes were lined up and ready to go. The big bad wolf had brought along his own plane, and he was wearing a sheepskin flying jacket and hat as a disguise. He sneaked around the back of Wilbur's plane and drained out all the fuel. A horn sounded and the race began. Waldo's airplane wobbled down the runway. Woody's airplane rattled down the runway. But Wilbur's airplane didn't move at all. See? Wobble, wobble, rattle, rattle. Of course, Wilbur's plane didn't move. It didn't have any gasoline or jet fuel. Waldo's straw airplane had only made it halfway down the runway when the wolf came speeding up behind him, saying, "Let me win, little pigs, let me win." Oh, win rhymes with chin. "Not I, the hair of my chinny chin chin," said Waldo. And the big bad wolf said, "Then I'll vroom and I'll zoom and I'll smash your plane in." And he drove his jet, whoosh, right through the middle of Waldo's airplane and took off into the sky. Sounds a little familiar. Woody's airplane had started well, but it began to fall apart in the air. The wolf came whizzing by and said, "Let me win, little pig, let me win." "No, not by the hair on my chinny chin chin," called Woody. "Then I'll room and I'll zoom and I'll smash your plane in," cried the wolf. And he drove his jet crash right through the middle of Woody's airplane and smashed it to pieces. The wolf was so sure he was going to win the race that he decided to show off a bit. "Look at me, he cried, and he looped the loop. He had just finished his daring display when, whee! Who should come flying past but the 3 little pigs, now all in Wilbur's plane. He had refueled his jet and they were ahead of the wolf. What story does that remind you of, guys, when somebody's busy doing something else while the slower is plodding on and wins the race? The wolf was furious. He shouted, "Let me win, little pigs, let me win." And the three little pigs called out from the cockpit of the jet, "Not by the hair on our chinny chin chins. Then I'll vroom and I'll zoom and I'll smash your plane in." But try as he might, the wolf could not bring down Wilbur's airplane. "Right," thought the wolf. If my plane is going to win, if that plane is going to win, then I'm going to be the one flying it. So he jumped out of his plane and landed behind the huge barrel at the back of Wilbur's jet. What is this thing anyways, he wondered. It looks like a great big chimney. And he stuck his head inside. Oh dear, we all know what happened to the big bad wolf the last time he met a chimney. Ooh, not a smart thing to do. Waldo and Woody had noticed this huge metal barrel. "What is that thing anyways?" asked Waldo. "It's a rocket booster," explained Wilbur. "And what does this do?" asked Woody. "This," said Wilbur, pushing the red button. And a huge flame shot out of the rocket booster, and the wolf was blasted backwards, and the jet whooshed forward right over the finish line. "We did it," cheered the pigs. "We won." "What happened to that other pilot?" asked Waldo. "I bet he didn't want to hang around," said Woody. "Yes," grinned Wilbur. "I expect he's a sore loser. A very sore loser indeed." And there is the big bad wolf. So, very interesting ending in this book. Very different story, but at the same time, a very similar story to the Three Little Pigs. I'm sorry, Big Bad Wolf. You don't come out very well in the end, even in this story. Maybe we need to write a story about a big bad wolf who is a big good wolf. All right, boys and girls, till the next time we're together to hear a story. Bye!